Welcome everyone to a new episode of the GP2 Speed Force Racing Division for round 20 for the Mexican Grand Prix, where we are at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, named by the Mexican driver Hermanos Rodriguez, who died in a race, and they named the track to him. So that's very special. And we now have 3 rounds left in the championship, with Mexico today, next week Brazil, and in Abu Dhabi we have the final episode of the GP2 championship, and then we're close to Christmas and we can have a break for season 8. Gonna do the standings first, as we have SAF1 Nadim still on top of the championship with 184 points. He wasn't there last week, so he still has a 39 point gap to SAF1 Quinton, who also wasn't there. And in third place we have Xgem, who was last week there but had an incident in the last few laps of the race and retired. So the top 3 didn't actually change in points. Also not for 4th in the championship, Senable wasn't there. In 5th place we've got Imani, who scored 1 point, was looking very promising for the race win, but got some bad luck. And in 6th we have Suyat, 7th we have TNR Frederick, who came close to the win last week. In 8th place we have Mike, 9th we have Cassidy, and 10th is LT Cobalt, who missed out on the podium in his home race. In 11th we got James TLH, 10th we have SAF1 Mackett and SAF1 Rye. From all the SAF1 guys, nobody was there last week, and I'll let you guys know if there is some of the SAF1 esports here. Further down we have Carl and Rob, who won the race on track, but due to penalties he dropped off the victory. Behind him is SFR Topic in P15, 16th is TTG Storm, 17th is Chris, 18th is Oldboy, 19th is Charlie in Japan. And in the constructors, Williams have still the lead by 27 points and they have a 4-win streak, so they are really the team to beat, and looking quite positive for the win in the constructors. They have to keep McLaren and Renault behind, which are not far off. McLaren is, as I said, 27 points off, and Mercedes or Renault is 38 points off. In 4th is Mercedes with 23 points. They are 86 points behind, so they really need a miracle to win that championship. In 5th we have Alfa Romeo, 6th we have Racing Point, 7th is Red Bull, who got 3 wins. In 8th is Scuderia Ferrari, 9th is AlphaTauri, and 10th and last is Haas with 43 points only. We go to the qualifying session, and you'll see that we have a championship leader, SAF1 Nadim here, and we won't have the Renaults of the Belgian lineup, let's say that, with Xavier and Senna. So Williams and McLaren will run away from them, as Nadim has a disconnection, I think. Let's put on the fitted tires, the telemetry for this one, the lap time, and the full track map. We have Race Hunter, who is going out for a run here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, where he will be the first car out on track on the soft tire. we can have a rundown through the drivers we have today, and we have three guys for the SAF1, which are Maggot, Nadim and Quinton, so a top 3 SAF1 podium is possible today. Otherwise we have Carl and Rob, we have Frederick, we have Emini, and a few others could be in the challenge for a podium or a top 5. And we can always see surprises here today, as racing is one of the unpredictable sports in the world. But let's go with Race Hunter for a lap. Now going for the long straight, where you will be in 8th gear when you open up your DRS, and Maggot has retired, but here we go, the first corners. You need to be careful about the track limits here. It's easily to set a track limit here. Here you have the technical first DRS section, where you could launch an overtake here, but it's a difficult one with 92-degree corners. And here the double apex rule goes a bit too deep into the corner, which affects him for the next apex. Then going into the second sector, where you really need to have a good balance in the car, as it's almost the same as Japan first sector and the USA first sector where we were last week. Now going into the stadium section, where you really need some good downforce around here, and be careful on the traction from here on in the last corner. If you get too early on the throttle, you can end up into the fence. The Race Hunter doesn't know that and ends up with a 115.4. Let's go to LT Cobalt, who was on the mediums, as he validated his lap. So we will wait for him to set a lap time. Carlton goes to the top with a 115.4, slightly faster. So he goes to third with a 116.5 on the mediums. And Nosia Atri goes to the top with a 115.1. We're getting closer to that 114. Tiana Frederick goes to the top with a 115.0, and here we have the 114.5 from Ebony, who is the new pace setter. Dima has joined back, so it's good news to see him back in the session. Lord Alam, I don't know who this guy is, but he goes up to GP2. Always nice to have some new faces here on the grid. Let's then go to Cyclomix, who has been a familiar face in the Speedforce Racing League, but hasn't validated his lap time, and will have to go for another run. There we have a new fastest lap time, and that's a 114.292. It's 2.5 as faster than his teammate, and it's SAF1 Quinton who is now on top. So we have a McLaren 1-2 at the moment. And Nosia Adri has come for 2 runs and has improved his lap time by 0.3 and is now into the 114s. Still half a second off the fastest lap time. Nosia Adri, who had scored a pole last week in the rain conditions at Kota. And his dry pace is also very promising, as he is also going for another run on this set of softs. You have to remember that the top 10 starts on the tire they qualified on. So it means the more laps you put in on this tire to set a faster lap time, it will affect you in the race by coming earlier into the pits, as Inosia actually does come into the pits. And that's fellow LT Cobalt who's on the lap, the only one pretty much on the lap. Lord Alam has also done 2 laps on the soft. But here we have LT Cobalt with a purple set to 1 time. Let's see if his second split will also be purple for him. Usually it's a glitch or just a personal thing. Let's see what LT Cobalt can do in the Red Bull, where in real life the Red Bull has won 2 times in 2017 and 2018 by Max Verstappen, and had last year got pole position, but got the grid penalty for it as he ignored yellow flags. But LT Cobalt doesn't ignore the yellow flag, and he split both McLarens with 114.4. Then let's go to Carl and Rob in the Ferrari with number 28 on the front, and he has backed out of his lap, so let's go to someone else, and let's follow the championship leader, who is on a lap at the moment. Has got a Renault of Race Hunter behind him, who wants to follow the pace of the championship leader, which could be a smart move. We have Cassidy going up to 5th with a 149, and Carl and Rob has set a time on the board, but it's a 128, which could be interesting if you run wet conditions, but it's dry. It's a bit dark there, but it's dry. And let's see what Nadim can do. Has lost nothing last week in terms of the championship, but let's see what Nadim can do. It's a 114.3. It's close behind his closest championship rival Quinten, who is now just starting a lap, so we'll have to keep an eye on what his time is going to be. Chris has invalidated his lap time. Calvin goes up to P7 with a 150.015, and we have Frederick, who is now challenging for pole with 114.4. It's a 10th off. Let's go to Quinten now, and he has backed out of his lap, so he either made a mistake or had a moment through a corner. Chariot has retired. Thinks he has no, and I see rain dropping down, so that's qualifying done pretty much. Out to drive on the lap at the moment. Inosia is on the lap and is close to finishing it. Locks up at the hairpin at in the stadium section, and let's see what his lap time is going to be. Probably the only lap time he's going to do. Quinten didn't improve, as Inosia improves by 10th and keeps his position, as Ebony has off screen going up to the top with 113.9, the first 113. And if you talk about 113, you're talking about the first comment we have today, and that's and Martin says these guys will be into the 113s no problem. Well, for Ebony here's the problem because he reached it, but I think this will be qualifying pretty much done now, as the rain is coming down and that isn't promising for faster times. Quinten was improving but invalidate, so that isn't gonna help him by anything. Chris has got off his third with 114.3, and Cobalt started the lap. Let's follow him to see if the rain does affect the set times. Yeah, at the end of the straight is the sector split, and he's lost a tenth, which could be by just a driver mistake, so that isn't really affected by the rain. And behind LT Cobalt is Race Hunter on the lap, so we could have a check about him. Tiana Frederick thinks you cannot improve anymore. The LT Cobalt had a massive slide through coming out of the S section, and 1.8 he lost it big time, and I think also it's the case of the rain. Race Hunter results, yeah, is now 1.5 seconds off, so I think it's the best idea for everyone to retire and go into the race. But we probably wait. Race Hunter has spun. So it's too wet now, and you really see that he cocked the tires too much. The team is just gonna try it for another run, but if you just go on board with the team, you can really see how much understeer the car has. It will be interesting to see if we'll have a wet race for soon, as Ibini has switched to the intermediates, which could be a case that he will have some drive on the inters, or it will be completely useless, as it will be as it could be a dry race. But if someone switches to the intermediate tire, it's usually a sign that there's going to be rain in the race. Let's see if he comes out. Nobody from the team coming out of the pits yet, so Quentin retires, so we only have 4 people left in the session. Make that 3 as Inosio retires. Here goes Nadim into the pit, so he'll start from P4 in the race, which is quite promising place, to be honest. It's off the racing line, but you have a massive tow from the McLaren drivers ahead, who has got another 1-2 on the list. I need to check how many 1-2s they have had in qualifying. I can remember that they scored a 1-2 in England, where there was also McLaren. I think Quinton won that race, or was on the podium, but even he has had a collision with Golden Crimson, who got a few races here, but has joined GP1, I think. If Chris can retire, we can go to the race. If you want to retire, then we're gonna just talk the place for he retired, so that's good news. We have Ebony on pole position with only one in the 113s. 1:13.981 is the fastest lap time of today in GP2. His teammate SAF1 Quinten is second on grid, 3/10 off, who's slightly quicker than Chris and Nadim. In 5th place we have Tiana Frederick, 6th is LT Cobalt, Inosia Adries in 7th, Cassidy in 8th, Calvin 9th and Lord Alam in 10th. 11th is Rage, 12th is Surjat on the mediums, 13th is Psychomich, 14th is Carmen Rob and SAF1 Maggot didn't set a lap time, he probably had a qualifying ban or something else, or just wants to have some fun at the back of the grid. Which could be fun in Mexico. Strategy wise, 2-stop is the fastest strategy around here. It's 2 sets of soft and a set of medium. And maybe there are some drivers who are gonna gamble on the 1-stop, but the 1-stop is probably be slower around here. As the tire wear isn't low enough to do 1-stop, I think, but you have always some drivers who are gonna gamble on it. And in terms of the setup, it's also an interesting one where you can go for a low drag setup, which can be really effective on the straight if you're in a DRS battle with him, or focusing on the cornering of the sector 2. So that's a decision you have to make. Do you go for the speed, or do you go for the aerodynamics? We can check what the drivers are all gonna do today. And let's go through the grid, where we have Ebony in pole position in front of Quinten, as we said. Chris is in third with SAF1 Nadim, our championship leader, in 4th place. He has his closest rival in front of him, so if he just can keep close with him, then he doesn't lose too much points. In P5 we have Tiana Frederick, as we see the predicted pistol strategy on the screen. In 6th place we have LT Cobalt, 7th we have Inosia Adri, 8th is Cassidy, 9th is Calvin and 10th is Lord Alam. And these are all the softs, so that the top 10 starts on the softs, and behind they're all opting for a harder compound. These are Rage Hunter on the medium, Sayed on the medium. Cyclone is the only one who was going for the hard tire. That's an interesting one. I don't really see much hard tires around here. Let's see what his pace is going to be. Karen Robb starts in P14 on the mediums, and SAF1 Maggot also on the mediums and starts from dead last. So what is everyone's top 3 prediction for today? I hope that we won't have a SAF1 top 3, which is always possible, as they've shown their pace of the last couple of races. So I hope that Quinten will win the race to bring the championship down. Ebony will, I think, will be in 3rd place, and Nadim is 2nd. So I'll predict that the Williams streak will end today, but I'm quite wrong with predictions, as I think last week I didn't got anything good. James Hook is supporting Calvin, Mitch and Rage, so hope they do well, so he can jump out of his chair. But the drivers are now all into their grid slot, and let's go to the lights. 5 red lights are on for the Mexican Grand Prix, and they are off. And who was gonna have the best start? It looks like that Chris has got the best start and Ebony has got a terrible start, already dropped down to 5th before we even had to turn 1. Let's see if there's gonna be any collisions. It doesn't look like it at the moment. But Quentin has hold the lead in front of Chris. Nadim and Ebony dropped to 4th, but gained the position through the first turns. Nadim already defends on Ebony. Ebony really wants to be a help for his teammate, and Ebony sticks it to his nose to the inside. But Nadim holds it. Let's go further down through the grid where we have Inozo, who also had not a promising start to his race. Dropped to P11 as he's got Surjat on his outside. They're still running side by side and Surjat let them go. And the race hunter also said thank you very much. Psychomage doesn't have a great run on the hards, dropped to last place. Magnet also gained in 1 place for Psychomage is going out of the way. So not a very promising start from Magnet at the moment, but when it comes to race pace I'm sure he will go to the front as timetables now are going up and down the crazy. We have LT Cobalt in the pit with front wing damage, and the same is for Surjat. Surjat goes straight for the hards, and the same for LT Cobalt. In hope they can have a safety car. But here we have our race leader now in view on your PC or your phone. It's SCF1 Quentin, who was got in front of Chris, who looks very shapy at the moment. And Nadim is in 3rd in front of Ebony, and then it's Tina Frederick, that's your top 5. I said the game is at Surjat is in the lead, but he isn't. Surjat is in last place. And with DRS going to be enabled at the end of this lap, as we have Karen Rumble who spun. I think he has gone side by side with someone, and side by side through the corner isn't really a good idea. As Lord Adams is up to 7th place as the game said. Let's go on board with Chris to see how the straight line speed is between both, and doesn't really look like there's any difference between those two. And how is Quentin gonna play this game? He's got a quite a big train behind, and it's also a track where if you can stay in a group, you can stay in it for very long, and will really the results will then really be dependent by the strategy you're playing. And when you pit for some fresh rubber. Inozo is the first driver to get a time penalty, and Tiana Frederick is the second one who gets a 3-second time penalty. And time penalties are quite easy to get around, as just turning a little bit too early and you'll have a track limit, which you are allowed 2 times, and the first one is a penalty. And won't be surprised if you see all warning flags on the left hand side of your screen. And you also have to be smart with your ERS management, as burning your ERS behind someone in DRS and you won't gain anything, then it's better to save it for a later moment into the race. As Chris said, gets a 3-second time penalty. The first one out of the top 3 who cuts it for the Haas, who has announced their drivers for Formula 1 in 2021, which are Nikita Mazepin and Mick Schumacher, currently third and first in the championship in F2. So 2 rookies at on board for the Haas team. So let's see how that one is gonna be or gonna go. But let's see to Nadim, who was using his ERS more than Chris is, and goes for the outside and goes up to P2. Has made a move stick and has now got his closest championship rival in front. Lord Allen has left the session. It's probably a disconnection. I hope Tina Federer is the lobby host or someone else selling him some spare invites so he can join back. Otherwise he has to let me know. But otherwise I can always send out an invite. Ooh, Nadim made a mistake entering the stadium section, which loses him quite a bit of time to Nadim, but still has DRS. But Chris is closer than ever on the rear of that Williams car and has some good tow and DRS and ERS to play with us. Nadim just got DRS. But here comes Imani, was attacking Chris, and Chris doesn't seem like to have the straight line speed to defend. But Chris sticks it down the inside, but he backs out, which is a smart move to do. So we now have a top 3 without any penalties, and this top 3 is promising for the championship, how McLaren is. As it stands, McLaren will score 43 or 44 points. I don't know who's got the fastest lap time, and Williams has got 28, which is a difference of 15 points, and the gap is 27 points, which will bring it down to 12. That will make it interesting for the last 2 rounds in Brazil and Abu Dhabi. Lord Allen has joined back the session. He dropped out of the top 10 and he was in 7th place, so it's quite unfortunate it happened for him. Nadim is showing Quinten and he is there, so we could have a championship battle between Nadim and Quinten. Oh, and I think Nadim already goes for the move, as Quinten doesn't seem like a good exit he had, and Nadim goes for the outside. Quinten will brake late, and Nadim gets him around the outside and takes the lead of the Mexican Grand Prix. So he will build out the championship lead currently. He can't win the championship today, but he can win the championship next week when we are in Brazil. And then in terms of points it could be possible, as then he will be close to pretty much maximum. So there are still 78 points available and he has 39 point gap at the moment, and if he finishes like this it will be 46. Pretty much say that he needs that he has got it in his hands. As Frederick Spedit was also for the second time penalty. That is really looking promising for him. Let's see to which tire he's going on, and he will be on to medium. So he goes for the medium in the middle. We could also see that some drivers will opt in for another soft set when they make the pit stop. It's a bit like if you want it or not. Off your screen, SE1 Beckett has gone up to 6th place. Was the first medium runner. And it's some 10 seconds off the front. It does seem like that Nadim has got some pace and is running away slightly from the F1 college. We have Nadim and Quinten coming into the pit, so SAF1 has made his pit stop, on the front at least. Let's see where the drivers are going on to. Quinten goes for another set of soft, and Nadim goes for the mediums. Interesting strategy around there, as also Chris has pitted behind him. He has gone on for the mediums, so Quinten has gone for the soft and will now attacking Nadim. As Rob will just pass Nadim. That's luckily for Quinten, but Nadim already wants to overtake him, and he does it. So a great and very important move from Nadim, who has now got a buffer between him and Quinten, where he could push a bit on his mediums and build on a gap, and once Quinten is close, he'll probably have to pit again for the mediums, and Nadim will go to the softs at a later stage of the race. But here you can see Quinten is now stuck behind Rob, who started on the mediums from the beginning of the race, and even he has stayed out for one more lap. It will be interesting to see where he will come out once he makes his pit stop, as Cassidy is into the pits, which will promote Mackett on the mediums up to second. He will shortly get the lead when even he pits, as even he will go out longer. There goes Quinten with DRS, passing Rob. Rob, who didn't have DRS on Nadim. But now we have Quinten close to Nadim. Nadim who locked up there. But Quinten is in the DRS of Nadim and can pass him, and needs to build out a gap. And when he pits, he needs to push as hard as he possibly can to make a gap and hopefully defend to Nadim. That's the only thing he can do to snap some points off him. And now Rob will affect the race of Chris. Chris has lost quite some time to the net race leaders, as Ibini is now going into the pits. And let's see where he come out, as Quinten and Chris were hold up by them. Ibini goes for a different strategy. He goes for the medium, as Quinten was going on for the soft. But let's go now for the battle for the actual race lead. Quinten is too far away to make him move, but let's see where Ibini comes out. He comes out in front of Frederick. Lost some time to him, but it also goes behind Chris, so the undercut is quite strong here. That's one thing we can say. And now we're coming to a phase where Quinten could make advantage of Race Hunter, who is still out on the mediums. But Race Hunter doesn't want to be involved in the battle. Says on, I'll let you by and fight it out with you two. So that's a good move from him. As you also got DRS on this little straight. I forgot to mention that in qualifying, but isn't really a DRS straight where you would expect a move, but you could get a little bit closer to someone else. And if you really had to back someone, for me, place an overtake. Now Quinten will have DRS and Nadim won't. Nadim is using his ERS and will take over the lead from Nadim. We still have Maggott in the actual race lead, but SAF on Quinten is now in the race lead, if you can follow me. So what he needs to do is now build out a gap, and when he pits, making a gap where he can find enough time to defend his victory, of his possible victory. But we'll have to take a look about that one. We can check to SAF1 when mediums are ready to go into the pits. Calvin Roppers made the move on Race Hunter, who was a equal battle. It was for position, as they still have the same amount of tire age. Race Hunter doesn't seem to like a very good pace, as Tiana Frederick was past him, but Race Hunter thought he's going back to Frederick, but he won't, so Frederick will take P7. And Chris has still has lost some time, but hope for him he can rejoin the battle for the race lead. As Nadim has got some slightly dirty air, and Chris doesn't really have, so he can make up some time through this. As you can see, he got two 10s, which could also say that he's got more aero on the car, which really effective through these section where you got a left right section, and the quite slow corners where you also need the downforce. Nadim is just in his second, I think. Yeah, he just got DRS on Quinten, so Quinten needs to push a little bit more to get him out of a second. And you saw that Nadim has got half a second by DRS only. Don't know if he used some ERS, but let's make it easy and say that it was only on DRS. That's how big the advantage is. Let's go to the Chariot, who's on the hard side for already 11 laps, and has got Cyclone in front of him, who has been on this set since the beginning of the race, and doesn't really look happy with the car. And the hard tires isn't really a tire to be on. I say it goes for a move at turn 4. And it's up to P14, where he has now Lord LM in front of him, and LT Cobalt up to 12th place, and has got 30 seconds behind Callum. Gap is coming down from between Maggot and Quinten. That's not really a surprise if someone is on the soft, but he takes Nadim with him, and Nadim would really think if I just stay in his DRS, it will all come down to my favor. Maggot is into the pits, and goes for the hard tire, so he's going for one stop. Mackett's going for the one stop, and that will be interesting to see. That's a gamble for him to reach the podium, and a hard tire could easily make it 20 laps, as Rage is also going into the pits. Race Hunter goes for another set of mediums, and Ralph has also pitted. He goes for the hard tire, also goes to the end, as it's between LT Cobbett and Lord Allen quite close for P11. Here goes Allen up to P11. Side by side those Red Bulls go, the Red Bull E and B team. And also Mackett and Calvin are having a battle, and Mackett overtakes Calvin, even though there are two compound difference between those. But Mackett is in front and wants to make the gap, but has got that Mercedes on soft behind him, where he has to keep an eye on. Let's go for the battle for P13 between Surrey and Rage. Rage has got a new set of mediums and will make full use of it and goes up to P13. And Surrey doesn't really have a race where he will think about with Christmas dinner. Start at 12, P14, and got damage at the beginning of the race. Not really a race where he wants to look back. And we've now also got Emily who is closing in on Chris, and Chris can't follow the SAF1 guys who are using themselves as a tow. The DRS is quite powerful. When will we see Quinton coming into the pit? So we got some 8 lap old softs, and Tina Frederick I think was the first one to pit for 8 lap old softs, but that was a used set. This is a new set, so you probably think it will go 2 laps longer. He wants to break the slipstream of Nadim. Nadim is now getting closer. He won't make a move thing, but Quinton can't get out of a second to him and Nadim. So Nadim is really managing well this race. Ebony has also passed Chris, so let's see what Ebony's pace is gonna be. On 2 laps faster medium, let's see how that comes into play. And if Chris can stay with Ebony, they can close in on the front. Nadim has got some low drag and goes for the move on Quentin. This could be a very important move as they come side by side, and Nadim goes for the exit coming out of turn 3. And will he make a move at turn 4? He's got the DRS and now goes to the inside, but Quentin brakes late but holds the position, and this all invites Ebony and Chris back into play. And that could be interesting for the championship, or interesting strategies at the McLaren pit wall. Tiana Frederick has got another time penalty. Let's have a look at the penalties. You can see it now. Tiana Frederick is the leader if it comes to time penalties with 12. Most have more than 3. And 9 for Chris, who was pretty much out of the battle for the podium. But Quentin will make another move. Goes earlier now to the front. And is up to P1. And I think it's now the time for Quentin to make a pit stop, as he will lose more and more time. He doesn't open his DRS, so he let his teammate by. You can see here from Chris's POV. So I think Quentin will go into pits. But yeah, I think it's time to make a pit stop. You have to do 14 laps and on the mediums, which I think they would last. So we saw that Hackett was doing 16 laps on them, but that was a fresh one. And Quentin should also be have a first one, so I'm talking nonsense here. But the most important thing is that Ebony is now in the second of Nadim, and that could potentially be for a race win. There we go, as I predicted. Quentin goes into the pits and will now put on a medium tire and go to the end. So we also have Frederick into the pits. And he will probably go for another set of medium, as it's too early to go for another soft. He goes for soft, medium, medium. Here today, it is all in favor of Mackett, who will be out into the lead, as he is now going to the end, but for now he's got Quentin behind him to look at. So, quite some 7 seconds off him. And let's see what the gap is to the race lead from Quentin. That's 14 seconds. And pistol window is always 20 seconds, so he will gain some time. Let's go to the front, and Chris can't follow the McLaren and Nadim. So it's really between the McLarens and the Williams today. And how will the race affect with Ebony on 2 laps fresher tires? And you could also think that he will do that longer on the soft tire, where he will be on for probably lap 26. I think we're getting also close to the stage where the soft tire they will put on. I think will be between lap 24 and lap 26. I'm sure that Nadim and Chris will do that, and even he will probably go longer. And how fresh your soft is, how much more pace you have at the end. Seidmich is going out of the way, he's getting lapped, so great job about him. Even he is getting close to the rear of that Williams car, and will he maybe make a move for the race leader? Turn 1, let's go on board with him. I haven't got a really much DRS event, but if you already get DRS in the car from front, then you get fast. You go for the outside and goes around the outside. Oh, Nadim wants to hold it. But now they're going side by side. Even he has got the DRS, and you can really see now that this is some advantage, and he retakes the lead. After going longer, he is now officially into the lead of this race. And this now has also invited Chris back into the party. And also have to say that we have a strong show from the Haas team today in 3rd and 4th place. With Chris and Ozia, they've got a pretty strong lineup. And Mackett is also closing in on Ozia. But Mackett has some fresher rub, and the mediums are almost going to the end of the tire life. Quinton is closing in on Mackett by a second per lap on the last lap, I think. So it all comes down to the end, behind Mackett's gearbox. We have Chris into the pit, so he'll be undercutting Nadim and Ebony. So let's see where he'll come out on track. Goes onto the soft tire. He will rejoin behind Quinton, but in front of Rob, so he'll have some fresh air. So he can push a bit. As we got a... Oh, Rob has crashed into the pit entry and retired. I would have stayed in the race if I was him, but he stayed out. It doesn't bring out safety car because he retired into the pits. But surprisingly incident by him. So Ferrari won't get any points, as I don't think so. He will get into the points. He's quite far away from that, as he's not far away to get lapped. But he's got a fresh soft on, so he doesn't really have to worry about it. Obviously, Mackett has passed Noza, so he is in 3rd place, and Ebony goes into the pits. Same as Nadim, so they both reacted to the undercut of Chris did to them. So we'll have Mackett now into the lead of the race. Ebony now going on for the soft, and Nadim as we expected. This has now given the position to Quinton, who has a harder tire under his car, and Chris has made the undercut strategy work and is now in front of Ebony and Nadim. With only Enosia to make a pistol, we have the top 5 of SAF1 Mackett on the hard tire. There we have Quinton on the mediums, who is catching Mackett, but not by very much, so Mackett has some really good pace on those hards. And we have Chris. Oh, we have a move made between Ebony and Nadim. I would, if I was one of them, I would work together to catch the other guys. But they also know that Chris has time penalties. But where Nadim has to focus himself on is Quinton, who was 6 seconds in front of them. But they will catch him probably. As Nadim, Enosia Atri goes in the pits. I made quite a few mistakes today. Chris sets the fastest lap time, 1:16.5 on those soft. Now Noja goes for the soft and go to the end. Let's see where he will come out against Frederick, or where he has a battle with. Frederick is in 6. And now Noja goes. Let's go a little bit down the order, where we are now going on board with Rage, who is behind Cassidy, who pitted for fresh soft, and he is behind Calvin on 4 level mediums. This is a battle. For 8th place currently, but you can see they're all having a penalty. Let's go to the battle for P2, where we have Chris, who's looking for an on-track win. It has got 9 seconds, so he has to pretty much go 13 seconds ahead of the other guys to possibly win the race. Nadim says the fastest lap with 160.1, 4 tenths faster than the previous lap it was from Chris, and that same Chris has passed Quinton for 2nd place. And now we have the battle between Williams and McLaren, and even he defends hard, and Haas picked up a 3-second time penalty, but he has kept the position. Let's go further down. You have Cassidy and Calvin with a battle, as Race has better behind them. Let's go on board with Calvin. Cassidy has got a wide run, and Calvin got himself a time penalty by going wide on the exit of turn 3. And Cassidy has some DRS to defend himself. Now got LT Cobble behind Lord Allen. And we got a yellow. That's Sorry, was going out of the way, so no worries. We got that one. Chris says the fastest lap over 116.0 as Simons comes into the pits. Now got Ebony behind Quinton, and you could really see that soft, medium, soft is the fastest strategy, the soft, medium. But you could make more use of the soft tire. And will there be a switch for the McLaren team? Yes, there will be. But Ebony also got a 3-second time penalty. So there's 6 laps left in the Mexican Grand Prix. There are still more things to fight for, as Inoja goes up to 6th place, making use of that soft tire, and could be in the run for the fastest lap, as his teammate is right on the rear of Maggot. Here you could see him, smells the rear, the gearbox of that Red Bull car. And Mackin doesn't really have much to defend himself, but has probably a podium as challenge or as target. Holding the lead will be something else. Chris goes for a quite a necessary move to the hairpin, and it could have been a collision between those two. Quite a risky move, but Chris is into the lead. Maggot has DRS, but Chris is into the lead of the Mexican Grand Prix, but has time penalties. And if you talk about time penalties, here you have him. He has got 12 seconds. If we would finish the race now, he will drop down to P5. And there's a movement between Nadim and Quentin. And Nadim is in front of his championship rival. So that's the most important thing for him. Stay in front of his championship rival, and he will get closer to that Speed Force Racing GP2 championship trophy. Chris gets another time penalty, so he's just going for the on-track race win, which could also was also a victory for you. Here we have Ebony on the rear of Maggot. It will be difficult for Maggot to reach the podium, as here goes Ebony to the outside and close to the left rear tire of Ebony, but Ebony is up to second place, that's what he wants. And let's see if he can catch Chris. Ebony has shown that he has got more pace on the mediums, but can he do that also on the soft? Also see that Maggot has got a time penalty. At the moment, even he could win this race, but it will at the moment be close, as it's just hanging around the thousandths of a second. But Maggot will probably defend himself from Nadim. And if they can have a real battle, which probably Nadim hopes for, he can then go to the top side of the podium, and the podium is really what you want, where the podium is at not at start finish, but at the stadium section. Not any more battles on the track. It isn't. In front is more the closest. With 4 laps to go in this Mexican Grand Prix, we can take a look at the position gains. Maggot has won the most positions, and he'll probably be driver of the day, as SAF van Quinten has got a time penalty, and that will be effective for the results. So Nadim can jump up places, and for Quinten it will be more difficult. So Nadim, our championship leader, is the only one who doesn't have a time penalty. Let's see if he can keep it like that. And we talked about the position gainers. Chris has also made up 2, starting from P3 up to P1. And we've also got Inozia Adri, who has won a position. But further down we have the biggest loser of all is Alto Cobalt with 5 place. He started at 6, out of the points, so didn't have a good start at the front wing damage at the beginning of the race, as Chris gets another time penalty. So isn't really his day. And take a look at the penalty, he's got 18 seconds, and if you take a look at the leader, 18 seconds, drop it to 6 even, and Innovia has got a 3-second time penalty, and he would even get P5, so you will probably be surprised by that. Lord Alamas has joined session back, he probably retired. So luckily for Cobalt, he is just far away. But not a strong internet. Lord Alamas has, and Dean goes up to third place, so Mackett has lost his podium, which he was already gonna lose, but now lost it on track, so that's quite unfortunate. I was counting down if Dean could actually win the championship today, but what he does then need is to win the race properly, or get some hope that the drivers in front has got some more penalties. He would get second place. Oh, we've got a retirement on the Toyota. So not really a fun race for him, as he got some front wing damage. Was gonna say that Nadine will go to P2 and Quinton to P4. That will be 6 point difference. Let's go to our race leader as Chris Tam. Chris 999 Tam. He is in the Haas car. Will win the Mexican Grand Prix on track, but it will be evenly who will win the race for the McLaren team from pole position to the race win. Our championship leader Nadine goes up to second place. Mackett holds on to third place, and Novosiak goes to fourth. Chris fifth, and Quinton sixth. So he lost some time, Quinton. Here we have Tiana Frederick, goes finishes 6th, as Quinton gets even more penalties. Cassidy is up to now is up to 6th. Calvin finishes in 7th. Then it's Frederick in 8th, Quinton in 9th. Don't know what's happening to Quinton, but he's dropping far off, and don't think that's really true. So we have Lord LM, it's the game says in 9th. Quinton has only got 6 seconds, so that is the results that you're seeing is not really true. So Quinton will probably be third or fourth, I think. So what you're seeing is not true. LT Cobalt finishes 11th, Quinton 12th, Save 13th, and Saigam is 14th. So here we have our race leader Imini. Started from pole position and has won the race, so a perfect weekend for him. And we will invite the top 3 for the chat, which are Imini, SCF1 and Dima Mackett. But I will invite them after we've seen the results. Like last week, it's quite a long wait when the game goes to the podium celebrations. And I got game is stuck on this, so finally the game was ended, and now so they can show the podium celebrations. So SAF1 is our driver of the day, like we pretty much expected. Takes a selfie to celebrate his victory at Autodrome Hermanos Rodriguez. I'll have shortly a look how many wins he has on the table. I'm sure he has got already one, but we have also got the confirmation that the Williams streak, the race win streak from Williams, has ended today. Here are the results with Ebony in P1 in front of SAF1 Nadim and Maggott, with Enosia 4th, Atri, Enosia Atri 4th, Chris 5th, Quinton 6th actually, so he's finished 6th. So Quinton in 6th, which I'll go through the stands quickly. Here you have them. I was counting down the championship, and the cap is, if I counted right, 49 points, which not really officially yet, which means that the championship is still undecided, but it's pretty much the fact that Nadim's going to win the championship. But I'm inviting now the top 3 so we can have a chat about them, and I'll be back in a minute. Top 3 is invited, and it's always easy when 2 podium finishes have pretty much the same name to begin with. And we've got our race winner Ebony. So hello Ebony. You had an interesting strategy on that second stint by going 2 laps longer, and at the end you got that strategy right with Nadim to got them. So was that really planned by you?
Yeah, I wanted to pit at lap 10 at the start. I didn't think everyone would pit that early, and yeah, they sort of undercutted me quite a bit. But I thought I had the pace to sort of try and build that gap, close the gap again, and then get within DRS. And then, yeah, I think having those slightly fresher mediums, I think, helped towards the end of the stint, challenging sort of Nadim and Quinton just before we pitted.
Yes, and if the race was maybe 2 or 3 laps longer, were you able to catch Chris to take the race win lead?
I knew he had quite a few penalties, so I was probably, if I got a bit closer, was just going to sit in DRS rather than sort of trying to force a move and, you know, something happen. But it does feel a bit good after last week as well. I feel like I got caught up in an unfortunate incident, so very happy.
Yeah, it was a very unfortunate incident you had last week, and you got your second race win of the season. And are you trying to go at a third one with the last 2 races left?
We see not you know, they're not either of my favourite tracks. I think Brazil, yeah, it's a nice track, but I think comparatively to other people, I'm not as quick as everyone else. But and then Abu Dhabi, I don't think many people are big fans of, so we'll have to see.
So I'll congratulate you with your race win today, and I'll see you next week in Brazil.
Thank you.
And do we have Mackett into the party? Not hearing anything, so I think Nadim is into a party. If he's there.
Yeah, I'm here, Robin.
Okay, Mackett, you came to. I mean, Nadim, sorry. You had a good race, just got a podium at the end. So tell us how your race went.
Yeah, I had some connection issues at the beginning, so I could only do one lap in qualifying, so it wasn't ideal qualifying. But yeah, I think the race went pretty well, especially on, like, I made a few places up at the start, and yeah, I was just staying behind Quentin in the second stint because I knew I would have the faster tires on the final stint. But yeah, then I think Ben got me like just before the last one on the pit stop. So yeah, I think if I should have maybe put it a lap earlier, then I could have undercut him. But yeah, he drove a great race, and I was trying to push him because I knew I had that 3-second penalty advantage over him. But yeah, he just kept it just. Yeah, so congrats to him. He drove it well.
And at the end of the race, you got actually close to taking the championship, but you have got 45 points now in front of Quinton, and you have a big chance to take the championship next week in Brazil. So will there be a different approach to next week?
No, I don't think so. I can start up front, and hopefully that should put me out of like the danger, like in the midfield area, because it's always quite competitive there. So if I could, yeah, I was hoping to have a good quality, then from there just kind of staying in the front side or just around the podium area. So yeah, I think that's probably the best strategy. But yeah, like I said, anything can happen as well with the connection issues or maybe just unlucky in the race. So I can't afford to just take it for granted. So I really need to make sure I do well next week to make sure Black and wrap the title up.
So I'll congratulate with your third place today, and we'll see you next week, where you probably will clinch the championship. But who knows?
Okay. Let's hope so.
So this was the 20th episode of the GP2 Championship from Speedforce Racing. Tomorrow we have the GP1, also at Mexico, where me and Oliver will commentate the race on, where the championship is a bit closer than this one, but just join us, and I think you'll have a good night then. But I will now also say have a good night and see you next week for GP2 at Brazil.